Well, let's talk about the markets and what's happening with the coronavirus. So the number of cases globally, of course, have been going up, and slowly and steadily, we are inching up to new marks every day. Even though one would say that in August and September you did see some decline, but then again, you've seen the number of cases once again in an absolute basis going up. But at the same time, one thing which is important to note is that markets have also been going up globally. So asset classes, especially equity, now even commodities to that extent have started to do well. That's what experts are saying. So what we did is that we spoke to a whole host of experts. We took out a lot of strategist reports in the last 1 month to try and find out as to what essentially people are talking about in terms of the pandemic and what's actually going on. So it's an interesting thing. The correlation between the number of new cases to the markets have completely gone down. Markets have started to ignore that. That's what global strategists talk about, and they say that it's the number of death rate now, or the fatality rate, that actually matters, and that is something which the street is going to look forward to as various economies around the world have actually started to open. For example, Neelkanth Mishra of Credit Suisse in a recent report notes that they believe that the link between the economy as well as the pandemic is now coming down. The lower case fatality rate and progressive relaxation across various administration is something which is leading to a reduction in fear for the market. Chriswoods of Jefferies in the weekly newsletter, just the recent weekly newsletter, said that firstly, the base case of greed and fear remains that the virus is in the process of burning itself out. Also, they continue to see that there is a divergence, between the cases and the deaths, especially in Western Europe, ex-UK. That should be taken as a positive and not as a negative, since it demonstrates that the region has learned to live with COVID-19. So that's what he has in the recent note say. Sameeran Chakravarti of Citi, who of course is an economist, continues to write about what's happening with the global, what's happening with the Indian recovery as well as where the pandemic goes. So just to take a quote from his recent note regarding what's happening with the pandemic. The doubling rate of confirmed COVID cases has improved in the last fortnight, but test positive rate has also increased the number of active cases that have crossed. However, they expect sequential improvement in the economic activity to continue, and the government may avoid any further stringent lockdown despite the increasing risk of COVID spread. So that's what he has written. Basically, the economy will tend to go up, and strict lockdown is something which the government may not consider at this point of time, even though the infection rate or the number of absolute infection rate is going up. Sanjeev Prasad, again not commenting on markets of Kotak Securities, saying that the sharp increase in the recovery rate in India and continued mortality rate on reported basis may help India to manage the epidemic without strict lockdown and wait for a mass vaccination or a herd immunity for the virus to actually kill itself. So people are believing that it's the number of death rate that now one has to look forward to. People have learned to adjust with COVID-19 infection, and going ahead, only if strict lockdowns happen, that's something which will impact the market.